talking through today's Friday baseball slate. Had some kind of frustrating NBA finish. I was in solo first of the alley-oop for 50K
What?
with like 3 minutes to go.
Oh no!
Ended up like 40th. But what I needed was there was a time where Michael Porter Jr. missed like 3 threes in a row, and any one of them you may not have seen the Jokic come back in because I had the no Jokic, no Butler. And it looked for a minute like it was going to happen, and it also looked like that same lineup, which I accidentally had actually triplicated because I didn't get my edits in time on my final one. Had an outside shot at the chopping of the crazy one. Wow. So it was a little tilting to end up a slight loser, even though actually I think I might have ended up even, but it was a little frustrating, but it was really fun. And the game played exactly the way I thought it would. And I had a lot of Michael Porter Jr. captains and a lot of Hayward Highsmith captains, and still couldn't get there though.
Did you make money in the lottery or no?
No, I lost in the lottery. I made money. I won in the alley-oop.
You cash for something though, right? Or
yeah. But I had like
I think I bought some of that like 3 weeks ago when you first put it up. I think.
Yeah, I mean it'll be probably like it was like literally half of the money.
Like $2 or something like that. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was like 1,700 or something, but it was like
okay.
I played a bunch.
How many entries did you play?
I ended up playing like 140.
Oh, nice.
And I mostly hand built them. What I did was I scripted half and then I went through all of them, and that's why I didn't make it to my other one. But anyway, yeah. It was fun. I'll definitely be getting in there for some of the other ones. I'm going to be out this weekend and leaving a little bit early today, so I'm going to try and get all my content loaded as quickly as I can after we're done, and then whatever I can't do, I will do later this afternoon before lock.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, I'm going to LA, so I'm trying to get there and then try to do live from down there. So
all right,
I might be a few minutes late.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, tonight I'm going to be off. I'm either coaching tonight or I'm not. But in either case, I'm not going to be doing live tonight.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, let's get into the slate. It's a big one. There's a lot of options, and it's an interesting one because all the top pitchers are basically in tough matchups.
Yep.
And that's the big thing. So we start right off. Sheets, what do you have as the first one? Here, let's pull your screen up.
Yeah, let me share my screen. What do you use as your main source? In other words, why are we always different? What do you?
I'm looking at SaberSim. I'm always going to be looking from the SaberSim page, and it should be the same, but it's not.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So first game I have is Philly Wash. Now I didn't look at the weather. I see these little rain clouds things. Is there legit weather concerns for anything or not really?
Not there is for some, but we'll get to them when they come. This is not one of them.
Well, which one is? So that I pick
Boston.
The Boston one. Let me just write that down so I don't. If you say Boston, I don't.
Boston is by far the worst, but Minnesota, the Mets, and KC all have a little bit of possible delay stuff. It doesn't look like there's going to be a cancellation, but Boston's a legitimate risk.
All right, so right off the bat, I think that this game I'm kind of interested in on both sides of the Philly side. I have Zach Wheeler at 9,200. I think is a good option. I don't know why he's projecting all that low. I also don't know why he's only getting owned 15%. I mean, unless he's come like really bad or something like that. They're facing Washington, as you mentioned. Like most of the pitchers in this slate don't have easy matchups. So he looks good to me. And then on the other side of this, I don't want to play Josiah Gray. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to play him, but he certainly has. Like you said, he's got a lot of variance. Whatever. I don't think I'm playing him on this slate, but I kind of like Philly. So for me, it's Philly, and I currently have Philly as I think my top option if you don't count ownership. I imagine they're going to be one of the more popular stacks. But just on raw points and whatever, I do like Philly and I like Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, I think Wheeler's fine. I mean, the Nationals don't strike out at all. They keep everything in play. So it's a little tougher to be as excited about Wheeler, but he's, a good enough pitcher, and it's a slate where we have other question marks with everybody. So I think he's totally viable. For what it's worth, like Vegas isn't giving him a ton of respect. There's an outside chance this Philly thing may be a bad play, but I don't think it would. Like the problem is, so you have Josiah Gray who's still walking a ton of people, and Philly is a very patient team. The problem is that Josiah Gray is not giving up anything in the air. Everything's on the ground. And he's changed his pitching style. He's not, well, that's not true. It's gone back a little bit lately, but more this season, he's kept the ball on the ground. He's sort of changed some arm angle stuff. He's not nearly this gas can that everybody's making him out to be. So I think it's a little bit of an overrated spot. I do think it's a bad Washington bullpen. And I also think Gray will have those 5-6 walk games where you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. So I think it's definitely viable. And I think that, I guess because I was sort of worried about ownership, but I don't think we should really worry about ownership too much on this slate. So
it's a big slate. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think that Philly is definitely in there for me, but as is Wheeler. Neither of them are my favorites, but they're definitely on my list.
Okay.
All right. What do you have? Let's see. We've got
I have St. Louis, Pittsburgh next. And before I ran projections, again, this is what I love doing this and just saying, okay, who do I think I would want to play? And I was seeing the same thing you were seeing, like a lot of pitchers against tough matchups or whatever. And I was kind of into this game from a pitching perspective, like both sides of this, actually. I mean, Flaherty would seem the most logical, but also what's his name? Contreras, who I don't even know where he's projecting from. I don't even see him on my list. I mean, maybe they just don't think he can do anything. I don't know. But I do like both these guys on the cheap here. And the other thing is that as far as hitting goes, I actually do have St. Louis rated as one of the, not one of the best, but one of the secondary stacks that I would be interested in. So I kind of have some interest in this game. Both pitchers, again, like, it depends on what you want to do with bats if you need to do this, but I think both of them are very viable, and I think St. Louis is a good hitting option.
I think both offenses are in play. It's 90 degrees with wind blowing out. It's the hottest place in baseball right now. You have a ridiculous run total. I think that St. Louis may end up with the highest run total on the slate by the time it locks.
Oh, is that right?
They're right behind Philly right now. I like St. Louis a little bit. I have no interest in Contreras at all. Flaherty, I do have some interest in because of the price. And like I said, we don't have a lot of other guys who are great options today. So I will keep Flaherty on my list, even though you're going to have to get the strikeouts on your side because the balls in play are going to be tough. Even though Pittsburgh's a good pitcher's park, when it's 90 degrees, when you got a little wind blowing out, it's a little different. So that's why this run total is so high. So yeah, St. Louis and Flaherty I have interest in, and I actually have some interest in Pittsburgh where I'm not playing Flaherty. Sawinski's cheap. Marcano is leading off, or should be leading off, and is at short at 2.1K. There's certainly some guys you can take against Flaherty. So I like both sides of this game quite a bit, hitting wise. I should have just mentioned.
Just watch the lineups again. Newt Bar missed the other day. Just want to make sure he's playing. They
were probably facing a lefty.
It says, okay. I said tweaked his back, but
maybe they gave him a day off.
Yeah, they were off Tuesday. They were off Wednesday and Thursday. Their decision on a potential IL can wait. Yeah, okay. So we'll just see what happens there.
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye out for the lineups everywhere today because starts of new series and there's some good ones. One which I'm supposed to be at the game tomorrow. So, all right, we'll move on to Tampa Bay, Boston. So this is basically I'm just crossing this game off right now. I'm not overly interested in it in the first place. If I did, Tampa Bay certainly makes some sense, and you could even argue for some Boston. I just don't particularly want to mess with it. It is 72 degrees. The wind's blowing in, but it looks pretty bad weather-wise to where I'm probably not gonna end up touching it unless things improve a little bit. That's where I'm not. You're not far from Boston. I mean, what's it like out there?
It's hot.
It's hot, which means it's
hot. That's what it is. It is hot outside. I just took two walks today. It's very, very hot. So I presume it's pretty hot there. It's not time to play Tyler Glass now yet, but it's pretty scary, by the way. I mean, like Tampa's got all these wins. I didn't even realize that Glass now was even on the team, much less like just not pitching ready to come back to pitch. So it's not completely stretched out the way I want, and at Boston's not the greatest place for anybody to pitch. So probably off of both the pitchers. Hitting wise though, I have Tampa rated really high actually. So I'm gonna say that Tampa is my second favorite owner. Forget the ownership for a second. Behind Philly, so I like Franco. I like Brandon Lau. I like Yandy Diaz. Those are like the three guys, and obviously, if you can get there, like a Rosarena also. But I do like Tampa today at Boston.
Yeah. All right. So we can talk about the Toronto, and Joanne popped in and said she's doing well in the golf this week. Good for you, Joanne.
Makes one of us.
Yeah, it makes one of the three of us. That is. But who knows? I mean, it's hard to tell who's where even right now.
Oh,
anyway,
I can tell what that Tom Kim is plus 30 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that one killed me as well. So, all right, what's the next one you got in there, Sheets?
Well, the other thing I would say, by the way, I'm looking at Tampa, and Franco is also day to day, so we have to figure out what's going on there.
Tampa's also weird. Just keep in mind when you play Tampa that 5 guys are going to be out of the game part of the way through if they ever make a pitching change. They play the postseason style all season long, and that's why they're usually a pretty poor stack team in terms of stacking, because they don't have tremendous power. They hit the ball. They're hitting. They get more base hits than anybody. But partly they're always playing the lefty righty, so they've got. You just have guys like guys who don't start for them are actually might be their best hitters in certain matchups. It's really strange. All right. Let's talk about the Mets and Toronto. I will be one of the people who play Verlander tonight. It's a huge park downgrade for Toronto. They don't have a ton of experience with Verlander in general. They don't. I mean, there's some experience there, but I will be happy to play Verlander while he's 8.6. It's not the right price. And Chris Bassett versus his former team. I think you could argue. Actually both ways to some extent. I think I would lean more towards the Mets offense, honestly. I don't think you have to do it, but I don't think it's the worst idea in the world to maybe take some shots at the Mets, but probably not going to end up doing it. Probably going to be Verlander. Don't think I'm going to get too much Bassett today, but I certainly could understand it. There's a lot of pitchers that are in play because of the tough matchups for the top guys. And I've got Bassett. Let me jump over to DraftKings. I'm looking at FanDuel. Bassett 80, 100. I think I just rather play Verlander.
I have Verlander as definitely playable. Just to give you a context, I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7. I mean, literally 9 plus. I mean, I could play so many pitchers today. And the funny thing is, I haven't even gotten any of them yet, except for Wheeler. And I think Verlander's totally. It feels like kind of. I don't know what it feels like. I think it's reasonable. I wouldn't like lock him into like a whole bunch of lineups, but I might consider him my top guy if I was playing one. I don't know. I'm looking at this and I'm looking at Kershaw and Valdez. I'm just we'll get to all these guys, but listen, Verlander, he's not only does he have strikeouts, but now he sort of has tricks. You know what I mean? Like he could have. I think he could have a decent game here. Now, again, one of the problems, again, like I mentioned, it's 1,000 degrees out here, and Toronto can certainly hit the ball. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Currently, I'm not getting to any of the hitting, and I have Verlander as kind of a possible option. Definitely be MME mix, and I guess that's my overall take.
Yeah, I have Verlander as one of my top guys right now. I'm just going to always play these guys. I don't like it against Toronto, but when he's 8.6, it's kind of hard to ignore that price tag. And I don't think Bassett is a bad large field tournament play, by the way. I also do think that the Mets, at the same time, mild interest. All right, Castillo and John Gray, Texas and Seattle. I believe the roof is closed today. I think this is a tough enough matchup to where I'm probably going to be off of Castillo, but I could be a mistake. I think he's on my list. He's just further down than some of the other guys we mentioned. And I am not particularly interested in playing John Gray, although I think that he's fine. I think these guys are both totally fine. I just don't. I like the other guys better. I guess.
Well, you're not helping me, man. I was hoping for the tea leaves here.
I'm giving them to you. I told you I like for the other guys better.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Because I was hoping that like one of these guys that I have, kind of like all tied, you'd be like, no, this is like my freaking guy. And so, well, I guess you're doing that by saying that neither of these guys are particularly your guy. So I'm going to stick with what I have, and that these guys are both in the mix, like you said. Just kind of like not too excited about them, not going to X them out. I'll probably end up getting some of them unless something happens where I fall in love with one pairing. I like both. Because Steve, like I said, good pitcher. Matchup is, okay. What's his name? The other side, Gray, not as good of a pitcher. Matchup might be a little bit better. I don't even know how to describe it. Okay. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to get to any of the hitting here, but I think that both pitchers are in play. So I guess the same as you.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. I'll go through at the end and sort of rank what I'm doing with my pitching, but it's just as of right now. I definitely, those guys feel like they're on the outside looking in, even though I'm not sure I'll stick with that. So you've got the KC game next.
Yeah, I'll start with this one because I want to show. Now I'm only showing you this because I'm not actually, I just say there's a dummy lineup. So when I went through this last night, I just want to show you what I came up with as my overall build on this slate. It was going to be Wheeler and Flaherty and this entire game stacked. Kansas City.
I have that already, but I don't have Wheeler Flaherty. I just have the same game stack.
Oh, really?
That's with the exact same players.
That's
it's like almost exactly the same. I think I have more Tampa in the outfield.
That's so funny. That is so funny. So this is my original. This was my without looking at a projection, without looking at the site, without reading anything. This was my idea. And when I looked at the projections, what's good about it is that they both look like decent, but they don't look just like so great that they're going to be huge chalk. Yeah, I'm kind of glad to hear that you're similar because I like both sides of this, and clearly neither of the pitchers.
I do think, for what it's worth, KC ends up as the massive chalk on the slate.
God dang it. Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, every player on their team pretty much is projected to be double-digit owned right now, roughly. But I think that's actually probably a little too generous to them. So I think that they're probably going to be a little lower than they're being projected for. Actually, depends. You've got them lower. Goldie's got them a little bit lower than SaberSim does. So it'll probably, drown out a little bit. So I think that, and again, it's always dependent on their lineup for them. I don't think you're going to get much ownership on the Colorado side. I like the idea of attacking Lyles in general. It's obviously playing Colorado outside of Colorado is never doesn't feel like the right thing on a big slate, but it's 82 degrees, good hitting weather. I like the idea of attacking both these pitchers. So I'm in on this game as a stack for sure. And the only problem you have is you have bad offenses that you're stacking. It's never that much fun. There's a few good spots in there with, Pasquantino, Witt, Perez, and McMahon on Colorado and Diaz, but I don't like. It's kind of weird. Like I actually was playing when I put a FanDuel lineup in, I was thinking about playing both catchers from this game. That way, I don't think you have to worry about chalk much if you do that anyway. Anyway, just something I was thinking about. All right. Next up, Houston, LA, or Detroit, Chicago?
Cleveland, Minnesota.
Or Cleveland, Minnesota. They're all at 5:10. Great. All these same times. All right. I actually can jump into this one pretty quick here. So I have absolutely 0.0 interest in either pitcher.
Hang on. You got to give me a second. Hello?
I'm going to keep talking because I have to keep going through it. So we've got sorry, I got a little sidetracked. So Cleveland and Minnesota, no interest in the pitching whatsoever. I do think that this is an okay spot for hitters. It is 84 degrees. You have wind blowing in a little bit. You do have some weather concerns if you wanted to make a bad play and play either of these pitchers. But I think both offenses are fine. I think that the Twins are going to show up as a value stack because Buxton is expected to be out, and you're probably going to get Royce Lewis batting third or somewhere near the top at 3.1K. Everybody's really cheap, so I have Minnesota as a value team for pieces, but not necessarily a team I want to stack.
Yeah, so I have Cleveland as a decent value stack as well, and it's an interesting thing is that Josh Naylor coming off the 46-point thing kind of hurt his wrist, I think, from hitting the ball too hard, I think. And so they gave him the day off. I don't know if he plays or not. Then you have Josh Bell as 2,500, and interestingly, you can't play both of them because they're both just first base eligible. So that's interesting. You have Ramirez, who's relatively affordable at 5,400. You have Quan at 4,100, and I don't see too much ownership coming from here. So I actually like Cleveland a little bit here as kind of I guess what's turning into kind of a low-owned bit of business. So I do like that, and I'm not really getting to Minnesota. Although, as like you said, if you get Royce O'Neal, is he still 2K?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get him 2K, pretty much anywhere in the lineup, much less like in the middle part of it. I mean, that's gonna, like you said, it's gonna make the Minnesota stack more playable. But yet on the other hand, with Buxton out, it just becomes like, a weaker stack. So
Yeah.
I do kind of like Cleveland here though. So that's where I'm at. I'm not getting into any pitcher.
Yeah, and my reason for not liking Cleveland, Bailey Ober's been really good. He hasn't given up 4 runs one time this season in a game, and it was 4 exactly. So he hasn't been hit hard at all. And Cleveland has no power. I understand they had one game where they scored a bunch of runs. In general, they're basically a similar version of they're a slightly better version because of Jose Ramirez of the Washington Nationals to me. A lot of contact, but not a lot of power. Detroit and the White Sox. Sheets, you want to start this one off? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you have streaming righty pitchers against Detroit, and you have Mike Clevenger pitching. I don't know what that means. Mike Clevenger pitching is a good thing. Well, he is coming off the DL. So I don't know if he's going to get the full run, but I'd imagine that he would. You know what I mean? Like, I would imagine that they'd let him pitch. And at 6,600 against Detroit, I don't even care all that much. I think that he could have a decent enough game even if he pitches only 5 innings. So I think he's completely in play, as all pitchers are against Detroit. I see no ownership to him, which is a little bit. I'm a little bit not confused, but I'm a little shocked by that actually. But I guess
he hasn't been. I don't think he's been 10% owned in a game this season.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, everybody. I mean, they made Dane Dunning 21% against Detroit. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's 20% against Detroit.
Yeah, wasn't that like the 5-gamer though?
Yeah. I will also say, just to throw this out there, that the Detroit stack is showing up as a really good value. I'll just throw that out there.
Yeah.
You got Badu at 2,500 kind of leading the charge as far as that goes. But then you have none of these guys are like in the Hall of Fame, but you have Jake Marisnick at 2K flat. You have Spencer Torkelson, 2,600, Matona, 2,200. Like, you can play 40 of these guys. You know what I mean? So that is going to show up in optimals. It's going to show up in value stacks. And maybe it's not the worst idea in the world to get a couple of them. But so I guess both sides of this make sense. But I think I prefer I really think I want to play the Clevenger set, especially, like I said, if people run optimals and get all this Detroit stuff as secondary stacks at least, maybe get a little sneaky leverage by playing Clevenger somehow, which is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's going to be all that much interest in Detroit, to be honest with you. I think Badu, if he's at the top of the lineup, will have some ownership. I don't think you're going to see an extremely popular Detroit team.
Okay.
I'm good with the offenses on both sides. Definitely the priority is the White Sox. But the problem is, again, you just get it's weird on this big slate. We're talking about all these teams that don't hit right in it. The top 2 hitters for the White Sox have combined for a grand total of 0 home runs this season, and they both have 150 appearances, which is almost impossible to do. Then you've got Robert, who's good. Jimenez coming back, for a while now. I would try to slant more towards Vaughn, Moncada, Jimenez, Robert as your guys. But I am still not. I haven't given up entirely on Tim Anderson, and Benintendi can steal a base, but it's just frustrating. I actually like the Gavin Sheets down at the bottom. I'll take the weirder White Sox, I guess. Not the weirder ones. Just I would rather skip the guys with 0 power for the most part. I do like the idea of using some of the Detroit for some value between Torkelson, Maton, and Badu. They all make some sense. Tyler Nevin, even depending on where he's hitting, and Eric Haas, depending on where he's hitting. I really want to see the lineup before I decide anything, but I do think this game is another one that's interesting. It's not, reasonably nice day, crosswinds in Chicago, so nothing's affecting much. I like the White Sox on paper. I don't know who I actually really want to play outside those middle guys. And then I like the Detroit for value.
It's pretty interesting. I didn't really see the White Sox stuff. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at that.
Well, it's results. It's just you have a nothing pitcher with a terrible bullpen, probably a bullpen-ish game, which will keep me a little bit less on it. But I do think the White Sox are kind of interesting.
All right, what do you think of this, man? This is a healthy matchup here. So the Angels against the Astros. You have Ohtani against Valdez. Pretty interesting pitching duel here. But you call it a pitching duel, that kind of implies that they're it's going to be a low-scoring game. But then again, you have those games in Houston. And Houston can hit the ball, and then you have Trout on the other side, along with Ohtani. I presume he's hitting, right? I have both these guys, Ohtani and Valdez, as decently projected, but it's not like they're locks, right? Ohtani, Valdez. We'll get to Kershaw in a minute. I don't know what to do with these guys. They have. In the context of the slate, they look fine, but it's not like any of them project all that great, So that's where I'm at. And hitting wise, I'm not playing the hitting against either of these guys.
Yeah, I don't know what to do here exactly. Like I'm a little stuck.
Yeah,
I really am. This is like one of the weirder ones that I'm having some trouble with. That I feel tempted and compelled to play both of these guys, and I'm probably going to end up playing either. It's kind of weird. Is this like Ohtani's not going to be? No, he'll get some ownership. I do think Ohtani. I mean, they're both excellent pitchers. Ohtani has the strikeout upside. I like the matchup better for Valdez. So I'll put they're on my list, but they're it's tough. It's tough today. I do think that Valdez is probably is going to become, I think, fairly chalky, and I think that I would, for safety, maybe side with him more. But I think Ohtani has a lot more upside, so I will. I think. Well, actually, I don't know if he's a lot more. He has more upside. I think that they're both really good pitching options, and there's a lot of guys in this similar realm. What I'm sort of finding is that I'm spending down a tiny bit more on pitching, and then I'm going to. I'd rather take chances on the other guys in tough matchups in the 9 and 8K range than the 10 plus K. That's I guess the best way to put it. All right. Next up, we have Chicago and San Diego. Sheets, why don't you start this off? Because I think I'm going to be a little bit quiet on this one. I don't think I have a whole lot of interest in anything. I'm not going to do the Waka thing probably. So it's pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting to hear if you were going to do the Waka thing. Boy, oh boy, I see that 40 ball like a couple of games ago, and it is tempting. It is tempting. I do have him as a good point per dollar play on a slate where, quite honestly, there's not a lot of great point per dollar plays.
Yep.
I'm going to include him in my mix, and I might end up doing it. It just depends on. It really is going to depend on my mood. I know the answer is. If I'm going to pay down for that, just freaking play Clevenger.
I don't think that is I mean, Waka's going to, like nobody in the whole sports world, if someone has that take, they're the only one with it because I don't think anybody's considering Clevenger.
Really?
And I think Waka, yeah, there's no, I don't know where this is coming from.
I don't understand why.
Not one person thinks Clevenger's a good pitcher in baseball, except for I'm the only one who defends him sometimes. Everybody loves.
I see him at early ownership at 4% Clevenger.
And 4% Clevenger, right? That's about sounds right to me.
I know.
And Walk is going to be 20 to 25% by the time the slate locks, is my guess.
Yeah, maybe I'll play them both. Or maybe I'll play Clevenger with if I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll play him with like John Gray or something like that. Or maybe.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Or maybe you know what I'll do? I'll play him with Flaherty. That's probably the better.
Yeah, I think Gray, Waka, Flaherty, Clevenger, all those guys, I think you can make a definite case for if you wanted to go there today. This is all, like I said, all the tough pitchers, all the good pitchers have tough matchups today. So,
but I wish I knew that there was real good hitting that I want to pay up for, which there isn't.
Right, and that's the weird part about playing them, right? Yeah. Unless you want to play the Phillies, which are expensive.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's not. I mean, KC. I mean, you get Bobby Wood, Perez, but that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right, so listen, Walker's like a good point per play, and he's going to show up and some stuff. And if you want to play him, fine. Doesn't feel like the type of guy you want to play as chalk, but I guess I don't even want to say he's safe. How about that? Jamison Talion on the other side, he has not really done anything this year, which is, well, he had one good game. Hey, of course, against the Dodgers. Why does everybody have their only good game against the Dodgers? And Dodgers are like the greatest team in history.
It's so weird how it happens, and it's like every good pitcher goes in there and they just smoke.
Talion, Chad Cool, some other dude, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I'm not playing Talion, and I'm not getting to any of the hitting here. So you're gonna actually, I have San Diego rated like 6th as far as his raw points.
Pretty high.
Just as raw points, though. I mean, they don't have particularly good values, though. But if I'm going to play Clevenger, and if I decide to play Clevenger and Flaherty, maybe that's what I did. Then I could go play Tatis and all that stuff. So maybe that's an idea.
Yeah, I actually, and yeah, they are the other one of the ones that are expensive, but you do have the cheaper options down at the bottom with Odor, Carpenter, Grisham, Sanchez. So they're going to give you ways to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, right. With the prices. So I do think it's interesting. I want to jump over to the next one and I'll start this one off because this is, well, actually, wait, hold on. This is the next one. Yeah, is the next
one.
Atlanta.
Which one you want to start with? Go ahead.
Atlanta, Arizona.
All right, that's you.
I think that if we're talking about these other guys, these pitchers, why aren't we talking about Charlie Morton, and why is no one going to play Charlie Morton? I'm really trying to figure it out. Now, here's what we have going for us. You do have the roof open in Arizona. Arizona has been pesky and they're tough. You know what I mean? They're tough-ish. Okay, I shouldn't say they're tough. Let me just grab their strikeouts versus righties. Sorry about this. But the point is, I like the idea of the low ownership on what's it called? Let me just see where Arizona ranks. Sorry, this is part of the problem. I know that they're down in the bottom. They've had less games too. Okay, they haven't been striking out much against righties, but I still think Morton is completely viable when we're talking about much worse pitchers than him as being chalk and him not having ownership. So I'm going to side with the theme of my pitching today is definitely a little bit like trusting the old guys for some reason, but I like the idea of playing some Morton. I'm not going to overwhelm it. I'm not going to have them all over the place, but I am going to play some of them. And I have Atlanta as the number 1 stack on the slate by a pretty hefty margin. I don't care that. I care. I love that there's a good chance that none of these guys end up 10% owned. And I am into that. Merrill Kelly is not nearly as good. Oh my God, how's Matsuyama now 7 under? I am very, very, very high on Atlanta. I will have Atlanta exposure probably in like almost all my lineups. The roof is open. It's a park downgrade in general for Atlanta, but with the roof open and the hot weather in Arizona, I am going to try and attack Merrill Kelly. And because I couldn't find other things I wanted to do, hey, look, you know what I say, Sheets? Nobody ever went broke playing a whole season and going and stacking against Merrill Kelly and Jordan Lyles and not making money. So that's sort of the theme of my day, along with my old man pitching.
Well, you've also hit on a team that has quite a bunch of healthy salaries. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for a team,
not really. Michael Harris, Eddie Rosario, and Marcelo Ozuna allow you to do a lot of what you want.
No, but what I was going to say is the opposite. What I was going to say is I found that team that if I do feel like overpaying, if I feel like paying for Riley, Olsen, Murphy, and Acuna, that's where I could play the Clevenger Flaherty deal or whatever.
Yeah,
make that all work. And like you said, if you don't want to do that, if you want to play safer pitchers or better pitchers, then you could play Michael Harris. You know what I mean, and not play Olsen or somebody. Whatever. But I agree with you. I think Atlanta is one of the top stacks on the board, and given the lack of ownership, I think that they probably would rate similar to you as probably my top GPP stack if I had to lock it in now. So I think, like it or not, better for worse, I think we're both on the same page here.
Cool. I like it. And by the way, Kelly has been decent enough this year, so it's not like
no, that's what I was going to say. I mean, everybody should know now to play Merrill Kelly in like all their lineups.
Yeah, but I just am saying, like, I'm still going to gamble with it.
So all right. So remind me, are you going today?
No, it'll be tomorrow that I go. A very small chance that I would go tonight.
Okay.
But all right, so Dodgers and Yankees, really fun whenever the Yankees come to town. It doesn't happen very often. So we all, we've got a group of we still got the old New York part of our family, and there's still some Yankee fans, and there's mostly all Dodger fans, but there's a lot of Yankee fans too. So we gonna do that together. I understand Kershaw hasn't looked as good the last couple outings. I do have Kershaw as a priority today, and I am okay with it. I don't feel like amazing about it, but I do like Kershaw quite a bit, just considering the price, and that I'm not going to be always afraid. One thing to keep in mind is that Giancarlo Stanton should be back tonight. Josh Donaldson should be back tonight. He might have already come back actually, but the lineup is going to improve. So it's not quite the same Yankees that we've been seeing. As far as the Severino on his comeback thing, I just don't think I can do it against the Dodgers, but it is kind of tempting at 7,100. I also don't know if I can make the argument for a Dodger stack at these prices because of it. So probably going to be off the hitting in this game and on Kershaw. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I have Kershaw currently rated as the top overall play on the slate as far as pitching goes, without considering ownership. Have him by a little bit over the other guys that we have mentioned. And I see his ownership is, reasonable enough, I guess, 24% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
9K is a very reasonable price for him. And I do also think that if you blindly, this doesn't really apply. I was going to say, if you blindly play pitchers against the Yankees, I think you're doing okay because the people are afraid of the Yankees. But they always are. You know what I mean? For years. But I do also think that Clayton Kershaw, you follow more than I do. I think he tends to be overowned. I think people play him a little bit too.
I think he's in general one of the lowest owned. He's probably the lowest owned of any of the star pitchers.
Okay.
But he's usually 11.9. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's 9K.
I guess so. But I don't think I do like him the most of all these guys. And as far as the hitting goes, I'm not getting to the Dodgers and I'm not getting to the Yankees. So just Kershaw and nothing for me.
Yep. All right. San Francisco and Baltimore to close it out. I like Logan Webb a little bit. I put him in the same. I like this matchup for him actually because I think he can work quickly through innings potentially. I think it's a huge park downgrade for Baltimore. Oh, I should have let you start, but then I'll recycle back. It's a little warmer at 60 degrees. And I think that there's some viability to taking some shots on San Francisco. And I think that there's a lot of reasons to play some Logan Webb. So that's where I'm at.
This is a big problem. This is a really big problem.
What's that?
Because we're just kind of agreeing a little bit too much today. This is a little annoying. But I pretty much agree with everything that you just said. Starting with Logan Webb, I think that he's a very reasonable option here. Listen, we talked about a lot of pitchers with kind of question marks about the matchup and stuff like that. I think that Baltimore's been good, but I think that I don't know. I like Logan Webb myself. And I also think San Francisco is sneaky. Like you also just mentioned, I think that given the way I have them ranked and ownership, like coming in as low as they are, at least early, dude, I think that this could be like a late night hammerish type of card. I mean, that this could be a good late night sweat card. I mean, who's going to do this? I mean, like, who's going to play San Francisco? It's really interesting. I'll start the wrap up. I can do whatever. So I still will go back to Kansas City, Colorado. I still like that. I still like Philly, whatever. Tampa, I like that. So Philly, Tampa, and then the Colorado, KC, Cleveland, and then this late game, this Atlanta, like you mentioned, and San Francisco. I think that it's a 13-game slate, but I think I can narrow it down to 6 teams that I want to stack. It's very reasonable. The pitching for me is where I'm going to struggle. I'm just going to have to kind of live with my decisions. I think that I feel comfortable with Kershaw, I guess, I'm starting as I'm just kind of just literally just like thinking about this. I'm really feeling comfortable with Flaherty and Clevenger. I mean, those are two decent matchups. Listen, the Pirates, like you said, the problem is like 1,000 degrees or whatever, and the Pirates also they have guys. I mean, like there's two guys that I'm afraid of. The same two guys, Hayes and whatever his name is, not Contreras. What's his name? Castro, whatever. But I don't know, man. I like those two cheapos pitchers, and I like Kershaw. I can live without playing, honestly. I can live without playing Ohtani and Valdez and guys like that. And I think I can make the slate somewhat short. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, so I've got the pitching is a little weird that I've got because I've got like Kershaw, Verlander. Again, I like Morton as like a low-owned play.
Sure.
Kershaw, Verlander being the more priority ones. I guess that then you get into the Wheeler, Castillo, I think are both fine. And then you get Ohtani, Valdez, and Webb, who I have as all kind of interesting. And then there's the Flaherty, Clevenger, Waka, Gray tier. And like you said, I don't know that there are some expensive teams that I like, but it's not like any of them are in such amazing spots where I feel like you need to play them. So I understand the argument for spending down and pitching, but if I was, I might go for the upside of like Morton over these other guys. Although Waka and Gray certainly have it as well. Clevenger, I don't think has enough upside for me. Flaherty does.
I'll tell you, man, this Waka play I think is a lemon. I don't know. I kind of listen.
I'm not planning on playing this build, so I understand. I'd rather play Charlie Morton personally, but I understand the Waka idea. So for my stacks, I have Atlanta, then the Colorado KC game, then I have a tie between Philly, St. Louis, and Chicago. So I'm going to have to try some builds out and see how that goes. But I think that right now, actually, for my pitching, I think that Verlander, Kershaw, Webb, if I spend down Morton, and then maybe I'll have Ohtani and Valdez in a couple lineups. But I do think it's tough pitching-wise.
If Waka is chalky, maybe we could play like the leader of the free world, like Morel at 5,400. Who's doing that?
Well, I just think you're getting creative just for fancy play stuff now. Yeah. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But Waka hasn't been it's actually a little bit like because of Waka's, it's kind of weird that they haven't moved his price. I mean, the guy has consistently been very, very good outside of he's had a couple really bad starts. Yeah. I initially thought about the Cubs, but I'm just like, there's just no reason to be that cute. You know what I mean? Huge, it's 60 degrees in San Diego. One of the worst hitting spots on the slate. So I'm not going to be doing it. But look, I'm never going to say I've been the one saying we probably should just play Christopher Morel every day, although he's kind of faded a little bit lately. Anyway, so it should be a fun one. I'm going to try to make it for my live down in LA because I've got to go down there. I'm going to do some family stuff this weekend, and then hopefully go to the game with them tomorrow. I'm going to probably have my content either uploaded very soon or in a few hours. So
there is a decent chance, by the way, everybody, that there will be no MLB projections from me tomorrow. Just let you know in advance. If you do play tomorrow, I'm sure Goldie will put something up, and they're
Goldie and Saberson.
Goldie in between. Listen, if that's not good enough as far as it's baseball, dude. You know what I mean? Like whatever. If I line up, what are they going to differ by 0.2? I mean, whatever. That's that. When is the next NBA game? Is it tomorrow?
I think it's Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
I'm not going to be around for it, I don't think.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to try. If I am, I will definitely let everybody know what I'm doing in the premium channel.
So listen. So if you, hopefully, I'll probably catch up to you before tomorrow. But hopefully, you get to go to the game tomorrow. Is tomorrow a day game or night game?
Tomorrow is it's like late afternoon, I think.
Okay.
So it'll be evening your time.
All right. Well,
so all right. Good luck, everybody, and we'll see you guys. Hopefully, have a great weekend, and hopefully see you guys see you at 6 Eastern for live.